Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, September 26th. Today's stocks are coming off a mixed session yesterday after the Dow and S&P 500 pulled back from record highs. The Dow slipped 293 points or 0.7%. The S&P 500 gave up just 10 points or 0.19%. The Nasdaq was able to hang on to green by 7 points or 0.04%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are up over 0.7%, up 0.71% this morning. Listen, this is a strong leg higher for the markets, and the key factors behind this move are this positive actions coming out of China in terms of stimulus. And the Micron earnings were also a big benefit. These two things, happening together are really pushing the markets higher. And today we got a host of economic data coming out today, and there's going to be a lot of Fed speakers, so we have a lot of things to pay attention to. Other, items that are going on. Southwest Airlines is holding their key investors day today. Listen, Elliott management is pushing for changes at the airline, and they're getting it, and things are looking much more positive for them than they have ever been. After the bell today, we got Costco coming out with earnings. Tomorrow we got the PCE data coming out. Last night, we did see that the House and the Senate passed a measure, which is funding the federal agencies until late December. This gets us through the election. Very positive. There's a push underway to, create a temporary ceasefire in Lebanon following the escalation in violence yesterday between Israel and Hezbollah. That's positive. But I do want to point out, not everything is rosy. I mean, you got some weak oil news going out there, news that's causing oil to weaken. And there's a port strike, a threatening port strike here on the East Coast that could happen on Monday at midnight. So we got a lot of things to keep an eye on. Moving forward. But let's move forward, and let's start off by talking about Asia this morning, because Asia was really the big story that's causing these big moves. We got the Nikkei up 1,055 points, or 2.79%. You get the Hang Seng up 795 points. That's 4.16%. You get the Shanghai in China up 104 points. That's plus 3.61%. Now, in Japan, they did release the minutes of their BOJ meeting recently that took place 2 weeks ago. And it indicated that it's telling its members to call for vigilance on the upside inflation risk, but warned against, creating any type of market expectations of future rate hikes. That's kind of positive. But it was the China news. China pushed back over the 3,000 level, because they're considering injecting approximately $142 billion worth of capital into the largest state lenders. That's big. That's a movement for that property sector. Those property stocks were up big overnight. And in Hong Kong, we saw gains in tech, property, consumer, financials. Almost all sectors were rising. This was the move that the markets have been waiting for, a real stimulus program. Yes, they cut interest rates earlier this week, but this is really what the market is looking for. I don't think $142 billion is enough. I think they need to do more, but it is definitely a step in the right direction. And the Chinese leadership is really pushing to make sure that they hit those growth targets that they have. So let's now take a look over at Europe, see what the action is in Europe. We're starting off with the DAX. The DAX is up 226 points, or 1.20%. We got gains in autos and techs, and then we get the FTSE. The FTSE is minor. I mean, remember, the FTSE is very heavily weighted on oil stocks, but the FTSE is trading higher by 11 points, or 0.13%. We are seeing strong gains in the mining stocks, though. CAC in Paris up 117 points. That's 1.55%. And those luxury stocks are running. They're running hot because that Chinese stimulus action is a real boost for the sector, for the luxury sector. Now we got to talk about oil. Oil is trading weaker this morning. It's down. It's down. WTI is down 2.87%. That's WTI is trading at $67.69 a barrel. You got Brent at $71.41 a barrel. That's down 2.79%. Listen, there's two issues here. Issue number one, Libya. Remember, their production has fallen off significantly. It's dwindled to almost nothing because there's two factions in Libya that are kind of running the country, and one faction controls the central bankers, and they removed a central banker. So the other faction said, you know what, you're going to do that. We're going to stop oil production, which is what they did. Now, yesterday, oil fell 2% because apparently the two sides have reached a resolution. To achieve, achieve steps in order to elect a new central bank governor. That's positive and this could really be a step in getting that oil production back online. So if that oil production comes back online, you got more oil, which is, weakens oil prices. But then, overnight it was announced that Saudi Arabia is ready to abandon its $100 price target for oil because it's set to ramp up production. They're looking to regain market share in the markets that they've lost to Russia. So they're going to be going after all these, outlining areas to increase their production. Now they got some of the best crude oil out there, so that's going to be very easy for them to do. And listen, they're going to have to they're going to have to make it up in volume, but they're going to do it on a lower price. And oil prices down 2% yesterday. They're down 2.5% plus this morning, and it apparently will go even lower. But oil is trading off. It's trading hard off this morning. We're seeing weakness in the oil stocks. We're seeing, as a result, and the FTSE is trading down because it is so heavily weighted to oil stocks. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, in your snapshot there, you've previewed a variety of news that is affecting the markets today. Economic reports, Fed speak, earnings like Micron, you noted, Costco coming after the bell. That's Southwest news, political headlines, overseas news with the China stimulus package. You're talking about oil and the issues there. That is a lot of information all in one preview, and you're able to gather that so quickly because you're using your NewsWare. So throughout the show, we're going to get to some more details on those very topics that you've previewed, including earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on in terms of earnings.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a big hot uptick in terms of news events overnight, and that's really causing, a lot of bullish factors this morning in the markets. But, I don't want to discount the earnings action that, last night, because Micron, ticker MU, Michael Uncle, they released earnings last night. They delivered a beat of 5 cents. They did it on higher revenue. I saw the stock started moving and, and it just kept going. You look at Micron this morning and, the stock is showing some really strong gains. What is Micron up last? MU. It's now up $15, or 16.58%. Really positive. It was up $6-7 after the earnings, but it just kept running. There was nonstop. Nice outlook as well. Then we got Jefferies, ticker JEF, John Edward Frank. Their report was okay. It was just simply okay. It was a miss. They missed by a couple cents. Stock's trading a little lower this morning, but the point of the issue is all the attention last night was trading on Micron. Micron was it. Jefferies didn't even trade last night, I don't think. Then this morning we have Accenture, ticker ACN, Apple Charlie Nancy. Oh, these guys delivered a nice report. Listen, you look at the stock this morning and it is running. It's up 4.44% this morning. ACN beat by a penny on higher revenue. And there's additional positive factors on Accenture as well. Then we got CarMax, which is ticker KMX, Kilo Michael X-Ray. Stock's up 2.16%. Now they missed by a penny, but they did it on higher revenue, so it's not totally bad. And and you look at the stock, it's up 2.16%, so it's benefiting from a lot of different factors. And this wasn't a bad report either. But upcoming this afternoon, we had Vail Mountain Resorts. That's ticker NTN. Michael Tom Nancy. Their EPS for a loss of $4.27. Estimated move here is 7.91% roughly. Costco is also coming out after the bell. This is going to be one that's widely watched. Ticker COST, Charlie Oscar Sam Tom. Their EPS is $5.04. Expected move here is 3.99% when they release this afternoon, Emily.
Bill, as if that is not enough action to be following, you are following economic events today as you do every day. I am looking at the notes here, some important reports to be keeping an eye on. And then there is a slew of Fed speak today, which becomes increasingly important to watch and follow along, trying to dig for those Easter eggs in terms of what they may be doing next in terms of monetary policy. So I kept talking there, Bill, so you could take a deep breath to get us through these economic events. What is happening there?
Let's talk about the economic events happening today. I mean, at 8:30 a.m., we get durable goods. Also at 8:30, we get the GDP and the initial jobless claims coming out. Altogether, this is a hot morning for economic reports. But it's the Fed speak that's just overwhelming today. At 9:10 a.m., we're going to be hearing from Boston Fed Bank President Susan Collins. Then at 9:15, we're going to hear from Fed Governor Michelle Baumann. And then at 9:20, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will be making these opening remarks at a Treasury conference. New York Fed Bank President John Williams is there as well. He's going to be speaking at 9:25. At 10:30, we're going to be hearing from Vice Chair Michael Barr and Fed Governor Lisa Cook. At 1 p.m., we're going to be hearing from Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari. And then at 6 p.m. tonight, we're going to hear from Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Wow, that's a lot. Now, in addition, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is also scheduled to speak at that Treasury conference. So, it just keeps going on. But today, the key economic events going on is out of China, and, how they're going to be considering a significant capital injection into their state-owned banks to bolster its struggling economy. It's approximately approximately $142 billion of capital into their largest state-owned banks. This would be the first such major capital injection that China does since the 2008 global financial crisis. But details are still pending. We're going to get more. We got to keep an eye on this. But yeah, this is a hot story that is moving the markets today, and these economic events are only going to continue to happen because tomorrow we get the PCE, Emily.
Bill, you just said the word overwhelming. That is an overwhelming amount of information, but you're not overwhelmed because you're able to break down all of this information, watch it as it comes in, and also track any information that has come out and preview to what's ahead. You even told us that nugget there that the PCE is out tomorrow. You're watching all of this in real time, able to sort of create these buckets of information using your newsware, breaking it down into these alerts. And as if the earnings action and economic events and Fed speak aren't enough to be watching, you're still watching other types of data and information, things like guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, merger news. You're looking at stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Listen, I got to do a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 23 higher, I got 6 lower, and I got 1 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm showing gains across the board. You know what else I'm seeing gains in? The airlines. The airlines are all green. The autos are showing gains. The banks are higher. Drugs stocks are mixed, which is typical on days like today. Oil stocks are falling. Oil stocks are down, 1.5%, with the exception of Tesla, which isn't always considered an oil stock. It's also considered a tech stock. So, they got a kind of a dual feeling behind them. Retail stocks are higher today, but I'm a little cautious on that because that longshoreman strike, if that happens over the weekend, that could really hurt these retailing stocks. Semiconductors, fraud gains, cybersecurity stocks gains. So yeah, we look for a good morning this morning. But we're looking at some of the news behind the headlines, and let's talk Amazon. Amazon's being sued by American Eagle. American Eagle is saying, is talking about a trademark infringement. They feel that Amazon is sending buyers to knock off merchandise. Okay, we'll see if this goes anywhere. Google, listen, look at Google. It's up over 1% this morning. But the SEC leveled the fine, $3.8 million in penalties. Why? Because companies were late in their reporting. When you own a percentage of a company, you have to file a report with the SEC. Oh, well, you can't be late with it because, that now you're open to a fine. I mean, things happen. I mean, if were they really late? Were they a day late? Were they a month late? Were, they 6 months late? That kind of plays into the issue, but I don't think this is anything really serious that anybody needs to worry about. Let's talk Dow stocks and let's talk Microsoft. Let's talk OpenAI. OpenAI's got an issue because people are leaving the company, and that's not good for them. So as a result, they're going to move to remove the nonprofit control. By doing that, that's a positive. And now they're able to give Sam Altman equity to make sure he stays. So that's that's very positive. You look at shares on Microsoft, which is kind of like an indirect beneficiary. The stock gets up 0.5% this morning, so that's deemed as positive for OpenAI to become a for-profit company. Then we're talking shares of Boeing, ticker BA. Boy, Apple stock was getting hit yesterday. Well, it's up 0.8% this morning. The plane maker and its largest union are going to resume contract talks. When this contract gets resolved, it's going to be a benefit for the stock. Just sit there and wait. I mean, there's a lot of positive things that are going to be happening in Boeing over the next 9 months, and it's a good one to watch. And 150, it's cheap. We're talking Goldman Sachs. They settled charges about the late ownership disclosures with the SEC. We're talking merger news. We're talking Lightspeed Commerce. That's ticker LSPD. Larry, Sam, Paul, David. They're working with JP Morgan to explore a sale. LSPD. Larry, Sam, Paul, David. We're talking guidance news, and we're going to start off with Micron, ticker MU. Michael Uncle. They see Q1 EPS coming in at $1.66 to $1.82. Street estimate was at $1.67, 1 cent higher than their low end of their estimates. Those estimates are going to start increasing. Keep an eye on Micron. Shares on Micron for more gains this morning. We got HB Fuller Brush, FUL, Frank Uncle Larry. They cut their full year 2024 adjusted EPS view. Now the street estimate is at $4.37. They came in and they think it's going to be $4.10 to $4.20. That's a downtick. Shares are weighing on that. But Accenture, ticker ACN, they see full year 2025 EPS coming in at $12.55 to $12.91. Street estimates $12.85. That's in the middle. That's good enough. ACN showing gains this morning. We're talking shareholders meetings today. Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV. Larry, Uncle Victor, they're having an investors day today, and it's going to be hot. There's going to be a lot of news around surrounding Southwest Airlines investors day today. Keep an eye on it. JBL, John Boy, Larry, they're having an investors briefing today. And let's not forget Meta Platforms, ticker META, that Meta Connect event, which caused a stir of headlines coming out from the Ray-Ban glasses to, a new programming coming from Llama. That event is continuing today. So they could be having, more data coming out today. And I see Microsoft's holding Discover Day today at 3 p.m. Could be something there. Just keeping an eye on it. Let's talk share buybacks, and let's talk about Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV. Larry, Uncle Victor, they announced a new $2.5 billion share repurchasing program today ahead of the start of their Investors Day. Wow, that's hot. J-Bill, ticker JBL. I told you that they were having investors update. Well, guess what? They announced a new 1 billion share repurchasing authorization this morning. And ACN, Apple Charlie Nancy, their board approved a 4 billion share buyback program. All positive. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, there's quite a lot of data and information and news to sift through in order to make a pick today. But what is your pick of the day today?
Listen, I got to go with Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, Larry, Uncle Victor. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of news. The Investors Day hasn't even started yet, and the stock's already starting to move. I'm looking at yesterday's call volume, 30,067 versus put volume of 12,143. I'm looking at the open interest, 210,427 versus 204,792. The open interest isn't a great, it's kind of equal, but the yesterday's volume is definitely positive. You look at the major brokers, they're mixed on the stock, but I think that's all going to change because Elliott's a beast, Elliott Management, and they're putting together these positive plans for Southwest Airlines to turn their ship around, to turn their plane around. Let's use a pun. And that buyback news, very positive, and I think that there's going to be more positive outcomes to come. I just hope to get in at 29-ish, 29, 29, 25 area. I want to see a little weakness to get in there, but I think the stock is going to show some nice gains today. I think, we just got to wait for that, positive entry price. But Southwest Airlines ticker LUV, that's my pick of the day. And I'm looking for gains in LUV, Emily.
Southwest Airlines, it is today, using that news cycle and upcoming events as your proxy to make that pick, along with other types of data and information. And coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day before we sign off. But before we get there, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, let's see what we have. Microsoft CEO, SVP of Research, Mark Chen, to take CTO role of OpenAI. Okay, that's cool. ADP nears a $1.2 billion deal for workforce software. ADP, wow, it's a big one. It's a rumor, but keep an eye on it. Aviva, ticker ABBV, meets primary endpoint in their phase 3 Parkinson's trial. That's positive. Apple boy Victor. Southwest Airlines said to launch vacations booking platform in mid-2025. BlackRock, ticker BLK, to invest $1 billion per year in select opportunities with Sandler Bank. Pfizer, they voluntarily withdrew one of their drugs, which is kind of a negative. Let's see, what was that drug that they... Pfizer yanks its sickle cell treatment worldwide after a possible link to deaths. ACN, non-small cell lung drug, has been approved by the FDA. LVLU, Lulu Financial Lounge, they announced their strategic collaboration with Dillard's Department Store, ticker DDS, David Sam. Visa hired some prominent DC lawyers to help fight that antitrust case that's been weighing on the stock the last few days. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off today and get to trading, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Jefferies. We did hear you mention the stock earlier in the show. They did report earnings yesterday, a slight miss there. They reported a Q3 EPS of 75 cents, just below the consensus estimates of 78 cents. This was on revenue of $1.68 billion. Again, just slightly below the estimates of $1.71 billion. But the good news here is that they're saying that their momentum across all their business lines continues to be strong. Specifically, their investment banking pipeline remains strong heading into year end, which is certainly a piece of good news considering the lull over the last couple of years. This one, not a bad report. Some, positive things looking ahead, but sort of remained flat. How did your call work out?
Yeah, it didn't really work out, but I think it's going to wind up being flat. I mean, the fact of the matter is the earnings weren't bad. They did miss on the EPS, but the third quarter profit revenue jumped, and that was really done by the investment banking asset management division. And you look today, it's just like Morgan Stanley came out there and they raised their price target on the stock. So don't think that this thing's going to be done. That this trade is cooked. I'm sitting back here a little bit because I think there's more opportunities here for it because you got a bull market behind you today. The banks are going to be running, and I think we're going to see some gains here in Jefferies because it wasn't a bad report. It's just that they missed, and sometimes that's all it takes. But it was kind of flat. But I'm waiting, Emily. I'm not done with this trade yet.
Being patient on that one, Bill, and we will see if you can get some love when we check in with you tomorrow with today's Southwest Airlines LUV pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.